Learning English with English faculties. Today we will understand Macbeth. Descent into darkness.
All right, let's dive into one of the most crucial scenes in all of Shakespeare, Macbeth. Act 3, Scene 2. This is the exact moment where it all starts to unravel. The crown feels less like a prize and more like a burden, and we get a front row seat to the terrifying cost of ambition. So let's get right into it.
So I want you to think about this question, because it's really the heart of the whole scene. Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, they've done it. They've got the throne, the ultimate goal. But instead of throwing a massive party, they're trapped. They're living in this new world filled with anxiety and paranoia. This scene is all about that bitter, bitter irony. What happens when you finally get everything you ever wanted and it just feels empty?
So the scene kicks off with Lady Macbeth. Now, remember her? She was the engine behind this whole plot. But now, when she's by herself, we start to see the cracks in that tough exterior. She's actually the first one to admit that this victory has brought them zero happiness.
And just listen to the words she uses here. This line sums up their entire situation perfectly. Knots had, all spent. I mean, that's the language of bankruptcy, of total loss, even though on paper, they've just won everything. She then says something that is just wild. She basically says it's better to be the person they destroyed, better to be Duncan, than to live as the destroyer in what she calls doubtful joy. The irony is staggering, isn't it? The brand new queen, the big winner, is jealous of her victim. They paid for the crown with their peace of mind, and she's realizing it was a horrible, horrible deal.
But if you think things are bad for her, just wait. Because as soon as Macbeth walks in, we realize his state of mind is way, way worse. If Lady Macbeth is dealing with doubtful joy, Macbeth is living in a full-blown psychological nightmare.
And he uses this incredible metaphor to describe the constant threat he's feeling. He gets it. Killing Duncan wasn't the end of the story. It was just page 1. The danger is still very much alive, and he's terrified that it's just going to heal up and come back to strike again.
So, what is this snake he's talking about? Well, it's the external threat. It's Banquo and his son Fleance, the two people the witches said would inherit the throne. For Macbeth, this isn't just a political problem he can solve, it feels like a living, breathing monster that's out to get him.
And there it is. Just like his wife, Macbeth is now jealous of the dead. He straight up says he would rather be Duncan, sleeping soundly in his grave, than live through the mental torture and terrible dreams that haunt him every single night. And that phrase, restless ecstasy, is just so chilling. It perfectly captures that feeling of being trapped in a state of frantic, maddening anxiety. This right here is the heart of the tragedy. To get power, Macbeth effectively murdered sleep itself, both for Duncan and for himself. He now lives in a fitful fever, while his victim is completely safe from harm. He won the whole world, but he lost his soul. And maybe just as bad, he lost the ability to ever rest again. But here's where things get even scarier. Macbeth's fear starts to change. It's not just about the snake out there in the world anymore. A new, much more dangerous threat is taking over. And this one is coming from inside his own head.
Wow, this line is just one of the most powerful descriptions of psychological pain ever written.
You can almost feel it, can't you?
The stinging, crawling horror of his own thoughts. The simple knowledge that Banquo and Fleance are still alive is poisoning him from the inside.
So let's just quickly compare these two amazing metaphors. The snake is an external threat. You can theoretically fight it with a sword. But the scorpions, they're internal. They're his own guilty, paranoid thoughts. You can't kill those. This shows us that Macbeth's greatest enemy isn't someone else anymore, it's himself.
All of this mental torment leads to another huge shift in the play, the total collapse of the Macbeth's relationship. That power couple that planned a king's murder together, yeah, they're about to be torn apart for good.
This is the exact moment he pushes her away. He basically tells her, look, it's better if you don't know what I'm planning to do to Banquo. Just be ready to clap for me when it's done. He doesn't want her help anymore. He just wants her applause. He's demoted her from a co-conspirator to just a member of the audience.
You can really see their whole journey apart right here. Back in Act 1, she was his dearest partner of greatness. They were equals. Now, in Act 3, she's his dearest Chuck. It's a word that sounds affectionate, but it's really, really patronizing. He's on this dark road now, and he's decided he's going to walk it all by himself. As the scene ends, Macbeth isn't just planning another murder. He's actually creating a whole new, terrifying philosophy for his life, a worldview that's born directly from his crimes.
He looks at the world around him, and his words perfectly mirror his own soul. The light is thickening. A crow is flying into a dark forest. These images show us that the natural order of things is being turned upside down. Day is ending, and the world of predators, what he calls night's black agents, is just waking up.
And Macbeth fully embraces this darkness. He actually calls on the night to come and scarf up the tender eye of pitiful day. He's literally praying for evil to blindfold goodness just so his violent plans can work. This isn't just about one man's soul anymore. It's about the moral decay of an entire country under his leadership.
And here we have it, the final, chilling philosophy that is going to guide every single action he takes for the rest of the play. This is his new creed.
This is basically Macbeth's new manifesto. The logic is, I started my reign with a terrible crime, so the only way to hold on to power is to commit more crimes. He actually believes that more evil will make him stronger. But the real tragedy is that he's completely wrong. Every new evil act just weakens him, isolates him, and pushes him further down that path to his own destruction.
So that leaves us with one last haunting question to think about. Once that first murder was committed, was there ever really another way for this story to end? This new philosophy of his suggests that from the very moment Duncan died, Macbeth was already trapped in a cycle of violence that could only ever lead to his own ruin.